Good evening. Well, if you listened to Rishi Sunak yesterday, you would think all of our problems in the English Channel have been solved. The numbers are down 20% this time this year on last year. So should we all be happy that 25,000 mostly young men without identities have crossed the English Channel? I don't think so. And the traffickers have got a new technique. You see, we have now given or promised the French up to £800 million to stop the boats leaving those beaches. And it is true that the French police do go up to those dinghies when they're in the sand dunes or making their way down across the beach towards the sea. They do go up and put knives in them. And it happens to many of the boats. So the traffickers have now got a new method. This footage I'm going to show you right now was taken just outside Calais earlier this week. So see what's going on here. The dinghy, the massive dinghy that'll take between 70 and 80 people is already at sea. It hasn't launched from that beach. It's come out of one of the rivers and come round. Effectively, it's what's now called a taxi boat. And you can see the people that are getting onto that boat have to wade out into the water, virtually up to their chests in water before they're taken into the boat. You can see there someone falling out of the boat, another person falling out of the boat. What this means is these very, very heavily laden... Now, there are 3 people coming back off that boat. I think they're the traffickers that loaded the people onto it. But those people now that are setting off, and all they've got to do is get 12 miles from Dover, and they'll get picked up by Border Force or the RNLI. Those people, before this journey even begins, are soaked to the skin and cold. Believe you me, whatever you're wearing, if you've been soaked in seawater up to your chest and you're going to sit in a stationary position for several hours, you are going to get cold very, very quickly indeed. And I will predict that at some point in the next couple of months, when there is a sinking, unless we have the luck, as we did with that scallop boat a few months ago, unless there is a helicopter or a lifeboat very close, if we get 70 or 80 people into the water who are already cold, I hate to think what the death toll is going to be. All of that, I promise you, is going to happen. Now, there was no mention in Manchester of something called the European political community. This was Macron's idea. For some reason, Rishi Sunak signed up to it. I, of course, want us to cooperate with our European friends, but I do not like the name political community. However, Rishi is in Granada in Spain this evening, and the idea is he's going to speak to other European leaders about data sharing and cooperation to deal with the common problem of illegal migration. For Europe, it's predominantly across the Mediterranean, although some does come in through the eastern borders. And for us, of course, it's through the English Channel. Here was Rishi Sunak speaking in Spain just a couple of hours ago.
Tackling illegal migration is a shared European challenge. Numbers are up everywhere, and I believe, as do other European leaders, that it should be us who decides who comes to our countries and not criminal gangs. That's why I was pleased that I could convene a meeting together with the Italian Prime Minister, but also leaders from Albania, the European Union, France and the Netherlands to talk through this issue to see how more we can work together, strengthen our cooperation to combat this awful crime. And there is more that we can do, sharing intelligence, working upstream to disrupt supply chains, working with partner countries to ensure effective returns. These are all areas where we can work more closely together. That's what we talked through, and the UK today has signed new agreements with Serbia, Belgium and Bulgaria that will help strengthen our bilateral cooperation, and you're seeing the fruits of that at home. Numbers of arrivals into the UK this year down by a fifth. For the first time since the small boats phenomenon emerged, we managed to get the numbers down as a result of this type of work.
Well, Rishi Sunak, you're right. The numbers are down by a fifth, chiefly, in my opinion, because the weather this summer has been so dreadful. But if we get a long settled spell, I'm quite sure the numbers will go back to last year's level. But in going across to the European political community, in seeking help in dealing with our problem in the English Channel, let me ask you a very simple question. Is Rishi wasting his time? Give me your opinion, Farage@gbnews.com, because I think he is.